Human Nature brings Motown to fans in perfect harmony, and Terry Fator introduces creative characters and voices to his audiences. These longtime Las Vegas headliners are our guests this week on Nevada Week in Person Extra.
Support for Nevada Week in Person is provided by Senator William H. Hernstat.
Welcome to Nevada Week in Person Extra. I'm Amber Renee Dixon. Terry Fator went from America's Got Talent to a household name and major figure in Las Vegas entertainment. We'll share his story in just a bit, but first, they've sold millions of records around the world and toured with the likes of Michael Jackson and Celine Dion. We talked to brothers Andrew and Mike Tierney of Australian pop vocal group Human Nature at the South Point, where they currently have another Las Vegas residency. Andrew Tierney, Mike Tierney, welcome to Nevada Week in Person.
Thanks for having us.
And you have had a residencies in Las Vegas more than 10 years now. I think it goes back to 2008. Smokey Robinson, the legendary R&B singer-songwriter, what role did he play in that?
Actually, we've just celebrated our 15th anniversary here in Vegas, which is amazing to think we've been here this long. But it was actually Smokey that, by him putting his name to our show, got us our start here in Vegas. We had done a Motown record in Australia and was a huge success, and someone said, you guys should take this to Vegas. And it was so much easier said than done. But we'd actually worked with Smokey on one of the albums, and it was just an idea of ours. We thought maybe if Smokey would endorse our show and put his name to it, then Americans who didn't know who Human Nature were might be interested. So he said, sure guys, I'll do that. And so it was Smokey Robinson Presents Australia's Human Nature was the first longest title in history, I think it was. But that got our start, yeah.
And that decision to get into Motown, how critical was that to your career?
Well, because we grew up, we got together as a group in high school. Well, Andrew and I were brothers, so we were together a bit before that. But we got together in high school. And we looked to those groups like the Temptations and the Four Tops and Jackson 5. So a lot of those groups that we kind of looked at as, inspiration for us. So, and then we had a career of our own. We released some original music through the 90s and the early 2000s, and we always thought that would be something we'd love to do, is an album of all our favourite Motown songs. And that's kind of what we did that was about 2006. We did that, and it was such a huge success for us. And that kind of spurned this whole second part of our career of doing these live shows with the Motown music and making records and doing some duets with some of the original artists as well, like Smokey. And so it was just, it's been a great ride.
Oh, how cool. Okay, so and then at the premiere of that show with the very long title, Smokey Robinson reportedly told the late Robin Leach about you guys. They were bigger than the Beatles in Australia, New Zealand, and Asia. If that were the case, if your fame was that big, why come to the U.S.? Was that always part of the plan?
You might have exaggerated a little bit with the Beatles, I'm not quite sure. But yeah, we'd had a great career of, as I said, original music that we toured around Asia and Australia and had some big hits there. But we just, when the idea of Vegas came up as somewhere to come and do a show, a residency, it just, it seemed really interesting to us and thought, wow, that could be something really cool. And so it took a few years for an opportunity to come up. And the first place was the Imperial Palace that became available, and there was a room there, and that was, an older casino on the Strip. And we just thought, okay, we all sat down and thought, oh, should we give this a try? And, is this something that we'd love to do? And we kind of all decided, let's give it a go. Let's move to Vegas and see what we can make of it. And the rest, 15 years later, we're still here. So, it's been... it's been an amazing ride.
Did you move here with the idea that you were going to live here?
We actually, the first month we lived at the Flamingo Casino in the rooms, and none of our rooms had windows. So it was a very rude awakening to Las Vegas. But I guess we didn't know what would happen. We liked the idea of trying something new and living somewhere new. I don't know that I would ever have imagined I'd be spending 15 years of my life in Las Vegas, but we were ready for anything. We had hoped that it would be a really long run, but at the time, I think if it lasted a year, that would have been a success for us because it was such a big gamble and a big risk for us and our family. So that first year was like we performed 6 nights a week. We only took 3 weeks off, I think, just to really just do everything we could. And yeah, every year then we just took it 1 year at a time. So no, we had no idea that it would last this long, but you know, as I said, we were open to anything.
Has that been hard, rationalizing that you now have a home here and you left Australia?
It's difficult. I mean, it's strange thinking back now, to think, we really just moved our lives and everything that we kind of knew from Australia and moved here. But, you know, we've come to enjoy living here too. You know, it's grown so much over the time we've been here at Las Vegas as a place to live, and the entertainment culture's grown so much too. So it's been a lot. You know, we've had daughters that have both been born here in America and in Vegas. So
what is that like? We were talking about how your daughter may make fun of your accent at times.
One of our favourite places to holiday as a family is Laguna Beach. And so we'll say we're going to the beach, and my little girl will be allowed to say, beach? You mean beach? And so, but it's kind of weird to think of the world through their eyes because that's all they've known. My little girl's only been to Australia twice. So she's American. She does the Pledge of Allegiance. She says Nevada, not Nevada. And so,
well, how do you say Nevada?
Well, I catch myself. I say Nevada because I know I've seen all the memes. It's not Nevada, it's Nevada.
All right.
So, but no, I love it here. I love that I've had this life that I didn't expect, and Vegas is my home. It's great.
Well, let's talk about Phil Burton, one of the members who's not here, Toby Allen being the other. We're happy, though, to have the Tierney brothers.
We're happy to be here.
Which, before we can move on, you both are working on a project, just you two. What is that?
Can you say Tierney brothers? Because it sounds better than when we say
Tierney.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, because when you say it, it sounds like
Tierney. Yes, we've just released our first single as the Tierney brothers. It's called Lemonade. And it's the first album we've ever made together as just the two of us. So we've been making music together since our bedroom as kids, and finally this year decided to make a record. So it's exciting.
Did you ever fight when you were younger over who would sing what? How did you?
I don't think we fought over other things. But I don't know. I don't know if we fought over who would sing what. Actually, when we started, I was still a boy soprano. Like my voice hadn't broken, so I sang all the high parts. And then when it changed, then it kind of was a bit harder to fit in the middle there. But yeah, we've always, you know, as a group too, you know, we've just, whoever sounded best on a particular part just that just took the lead, and so that's always been a very easy thing to do for us.
And then when you were in high school, there was an article I read, you said, you know, it wasn't quite the coolest thing to be in a vocal group back in high school. How did you all support each other during that time?
Well, it definitely wasn't the coolest thing, and even through our daughters, or Mike's daughter who's really into the arts, it's still not the coolest thing at most schools to be in the arts. They call them, she's called it?
La La Losers.
La La Losers, because they
choir.
sing in the choir. You're a La La Loser. So we were the La La Losers at our school. But we just loved it so much, and I guess because there was the four of us, we kind of had a security in numbers, if you will. And we started to perform at some of the school events, and so we kind of got a bit of notoriety as being good at what we did, so people understood why we did it. But yeah, I kind of think of kids growing up these days and how it is a struggle to just feel comfortable being different. And we're living proof that it is okay to be different, and you'll come through the end. You'll see the light on the other side.
Awesome. Back to Phil. He will not be here at your dates that are scheduled through November here at the South Point, correct?
Correct, yeah. So in the States now, it's just me, Andrew, and Toby who perform here. And he decided to move back. He didn't love living in Vegas with his family, and he had family back in Australia too. So during COVID that time, he made the decision to move back and spend time back there. So, but we once we came through that time of COVID, at that time we didn't know if we had an opportunity still to perform in Vegas, but thankfully this great room here at South Point came up, and it's just been a great place for us to perform. It's such a fantastic showroom, and probably one of the best rooms that we've performed in Vegas. So it's
How so? Why?
It feels like old Vegas, but it's new, and the capabilities of the room are fantastic. Like the technology's here, the crew's great, and South Point has such a fan base of the property. You know, people come here, they love South Point, And locals love South Point. And so we feel that when we get here, that this feels like something people really want to do. On the Strip, it's kind of, you have so much choice. Do I go and see Steve Aoki? Do I go and see Carrie Underwood? Do I go and see Bruno Mars when he's in town? There's so much choice. And I think Nevadans and Las Vegans want their place to feel comfortable and local, and they come here, and we feel that in the crowd. It's awesome.
You said Nevadans perfectly.
Did I? Good.
And Phil had mentioned in an article that raising kids in Las Vegas he viewed as a challenge at times. He mentioned a certain scenario in which he was driving with his daughter. She saw a billboard of all of you and said, "Oh, there's Daddy." The next billboard was of a woman in a bikini, and she said, "Oh, is that Mommy?" Have you experienced any challenges similar to that, or
It
how do you
seems
go
these
about
days
it?
there's only injury lawyers on billboards. So it's not so
Injury
much-
lawyers
taken
or,
over.
Is Daddy
or
an injury
marijuana
lawyer?
dispensaries.
Yeah, well, there you go. I know marijuana dispensaries as well. I mean, how are you addressing these issues with kids?
I think every city, every place you raise your kids, you're going to look for things that you want to steer them away from, mate. I don't have any issues with Vegas. You know, I think it's I've never thought of that. You know, I kind of just raised my daughter with my wife Heather, and we don't have to steer away from anything, but maybe watching the news.
No, seriously.
I just don't want to watch the news or spend too much time on social media, because you just get bombarded with probably the worst of the world. Whereas I think if you just focus on music and being at home and family life, then it's the best wherever you are.
Anything you want to add to that, or could we talk about you both being married to sisters?
I know, the connection goes even deeper. Yeah, so our daughters are double cousins, because our wives are sisters as well. So
They're not sister wives, but they're wives and sisters. Clarify.
But it's great. I mean, we have an inbuilt family dynamic, I guess, here in Vegas, because we, obviously have my brother here, and yeah, we're quite close, and our daughters are close too. So it's a great. It kind of worked out really well for us that we don't feel like we're missing family so much, because we have family here. So that's probably why we've kind of made a comfortable and happy lives for ourselves here too.
Your partnership with PBS, that happened around the same time that you had the Venetian
Yep.
residency. What made you want to do that national special with PBS? Why was it a good fit?
Well, PBS always seemed such a great supporter of the arts, and we were doing a show we felt would work really well on PBS, and the audience that love the arts are big fans of PBS. So we spoke to a bunch of people, and they and Smokey as well, and about the idea of doing a PBS special, and everyone just said it'd be fantastic for our show. So that's why we did it, and it was such a great thing to visit all the different stations around the country and get to do interviews, and those live pledge shows was like this world we didn't even know existed until we were in it. And we actually did it twice. And we did it with the Jukebox show as well. So we have a great history with PBS, and every time I watch shows with my wife, you can't miss that trumpet line. Is it the Masterpiece trumpet line? Da, da, da. Okay, I'm not going to do it, but it's part of my life. And so yeah, I'm really humbled and honored to be part of the PBS legacy. It's great.
Well, we appreciate your support, and we are going to wrap up now with a little bit of singing. Give our
just
viewers a little
some
taste.
sibling harmony.
Okay.
Right.
My girl,
My girl,
my girl, talking about my girl, my girl. There you go.
Beautiful.
We got in 10
get in?
seconds.
Get any under time?
Yeah, we're just a little concerned about fair use of media. Okay. Mike Tierney, Andrew Tierney, thank you so much for joining Nevada
Pleasure.
Week in person. See Human Nature here at the South Point Showroom.
Thank you.
One Man, 100 Voices, 1,000 Laughs is the name of Terry Fator's show in Las Vegas, and it's a perfect description of the Strip headliner. The ventriloquist and impressionist has starred on the Strip for more than a decade, alongside dozens of memorable puppet characters he's created. We talked to Terry and his friend Winston back in 2022. Welcome to Nevada Week in person, and please introduce us to your guest.
I'm Terry, and I'm Winston, the impersonating turtle. I'm actually the talent in the show. That's true.
Winston loves Garth Brooks, is that correct?
I could do impressions of any singer.
How did you come to have so many talents?
Well, I was born that way.
You were. Yeah, okay. So actually, the truth is that Winston, I was doing a Kermit the Frog puppet, and when I was on America's Got Talent, I asked them if I could use Kermit the Frog, and the Muppets did not give me permission. They said I could do the voice, but I could not use the puppet. So
And
I was trying to find someone, and so I met this little guy. And what did you do?
I said,
I hold Kermit the Frog here. Right.
Why are you better than Kermit the Frog, in your opinion?
oh, because I'm the turtle.
Okay,
We have a
okay.
hard shell. We're kind of like M&Ms.
And I really like the bow tie, too. You guys go very well
thank you.
together.
Thank you.
An interesting interview to conduct here because it's with both of you, but I want to talk about you, and obviously Winston knows you very well, so chime in whenever.
Okay.
I want to say happy belated Valentine's Day to you.
Oh, thank
and
you.
I bring that up because it has a significance in your personal history that
does.
day. What is
Yes.
it?
Well, I mean, I finally found true love. I mean, who
Oh.
doesn't want to find true love? You know, it's very difficult when you've had some trouble in romantic relationships in the past, and then finally, in 2015, I met the love of my life. We met in April, and we're married 4 months later, and we are just so happy, and so I love celebrating Valentine's Day because, well, she's my love in my life. I love her.
That's a different answer than I was
That's Angie.
expecting.
Really?
Though. Yes,
Okay.
because I thought it was Valentine's Day when you had some sort of book report.
Oh, you're right. See, I didn't know. I was just thinking of my wife. But of course, why
Lovely.
wouldn't I, right?
You get
No,
some
you're
good
right.
brownie
You're right.
points.
It is. You are absolutely right. Valentine's Day.
Can I tell the story?
No, let me tell it.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, don't hang your head. Okay. So, no, I was supposed to do a book report on Valentine's Day. And back in the old days, when, I'm 56 years old, so back in 1975, we had card catalogs that were actual cards. We didn't have like all this digital stuff. So I was supposed to do Valentine's Day, and I flipped a little too far and found a book on ventriloquism. And I got to be honest, I completely forgot about the Valentine's. I was supposed to do a book report on that, and I forgot all about Valentine's Day and picked up ventriloquism. So it was very impactful. But I'm glad I got to mention my wife Angie, though.
I am too. Fast forward, and I have written down 30 is the new 40, or 40 is the new 30. I got that backwards. 40 years old is when everything kind of came together for you. How so?
Well, it came together in an interesting way for me because I always assumed. In fact, I did an interview when I was 10, right after I became a ventriloquist, and they said, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, "I want to be rich and famous." So even at 10, I knew I wanted to be an entertainer. And so I just always assumed it was going to happen because I knew I was talented. And then when I hit 40, I started assessing my life. And I was doing professional ventriloquism all over the country. I was playing schools and fairs. And at 40, I kind of thought, I think this ship has sailed. I doubt there's ever going to be any place for a 40-year-old ventriloquist to get rich and famous. And then 2 years later, America's Got Talent changed all of it. So, but the funny thing is, it wasn't like a depressing thing. It was more like, oh, I guess I'll just have to accept that this is my life, that I'm never going to get rich and famous. But I was really grateful for the fact that I was one of the lucky people that got to do what I love and make a living at it. And, I was performing at small venues and doing county fairs and elementary schools. But I thought, geez, it's much better than having to go into an office every day. And I'm not the office type. I'm really not.
When was it do you think it was when you realized, okay, I may not be rich and famous, and that you let that go and then things started to click?
Yeah, which is how it tends to work, isn't it? A lot of times when you're focusing on something, well, for example, a lot of times in romance, this is exactly what had happened with my wife Angie. I mean, I had given up, and I said, you know what? I'm done. I'm so done with all this. I'm done with romance. I'm done with women. And it wasn't a month later that I met the love of my life. So, but the same thing, I had given up on ever really being rich and famous, or even famous. I just wanted to have a fan base, and then everything changed. So I think a lot of times the pressure that we put on ourselves for something might change.
Exactly.
You have been living with attention deficit disorder your entire life. We hear about it with children. What's it like as an adult? Different?
It's different, but it's not, I don't really consider it a disability. I use it to my,
Trust me, he definitely has ADHD.
yes, I do.
How do you
And-
how do you recognize it?
Oh, just the way, sometimes his hand is shaking in there. He's like,
That's not true. No, okay. No, so what happens is my mind works way faster. My brain works way faster than my mouth. So a lot of the times when I'm having a conversation with someone, I'm already five thoughts ahead. And that's definitely ADHD. My poor wife, it drives her crazy because I can't work without something else on. So I like to have television on, or I have to have music in the background. And I don't even notice the TV, and I don't notice, but it's a way of kind of skewering that my brain just works at such a crazy speed. And so when I'm doing this, but also if you watch my show, I'm doing about 10 things at a time. And I'm doing it flawlessly, and I'm doing it smoothly, and you really don't notice it.
yeah, like the fact that I'm looking at you and looking at him.
Right. But see, that's just a lot of practice.
Yeah, thousands of hours. Yeah. Thank goodness I wasn't there for that.
No, you weren't.
No.
Yeah, but so I really kind of took that, and instead of looking at it as something bad, I turned it into a strength. But it's very difficult, and I never did take medication for it because I just always felt like that I don't want to dull that part of me. I want to be able to. I do several things at a time, and then other times I get distracted and I can't focus. But it's part of having ADHD.
Perhaps the puppets are the medication. Is puppets the correct term?
Yeah, actually Mannequin American.
Mannequin American. Is that yours?
No, actually that was written by Dan Horn.
Yeah, well, a good friend of mine is a ventriloquist, and he gave me that joke.
Well, we would like to be politically correct.
That's
here at
right.
Vegas
That's right. No,
Media.
puppets is fine.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
we're puppets. We don't have feelings.
Right. Exactly.
you are almost a year into your new show at the New York, Who's the Dummy Now? And you said, you've been quoted as saying it's a little bit different than what you've done in the past. Quote, it's kind of a whimsical origin story delving into the psychiatry of a ventriloquist. And that's what I would like you to expand upon. I mean, who are these puppets to you?
Well, as I was assessing what I wanted my next show to be after I moved from the Mirage over to New York, I thought it might be kind of fun to look at the psychological aspect of what a ventriloquist is. And I started looking at all my characters and realizing that all of those characters were kind of created out of my psyche. And I realized, like Winston,
I'm his inner child.
right? So he gets to be the little kid that,
Sometimes I'm a little confused.
yeah. Like for example, I'll say, do you like it in Vegas?
Oh yeah, they're so nice. Just for me, they made turtle soup.
Right. And so he doesn't understand what turtle soup is. He thinks it was an honor, and little things like that. But he's the childlikeness. I have a country singer who is who's been divorced, 10 times or 12 times. Well, I've had 2 divorces, so I created a puppet that's had more divorces than me. I've got a sexy puppet. I've never considered myself sexy, but it's kind of that we all, any guy wants to be considered sexy, and I've never thought of myself as sexy. So what did I do? I created the sexiest puppet ever. So as I began to look at the different characters that I'd created, I realized I was doing this out of my psyche. And I think I think the best ventriloquists do that. I think the best ventriloquists pick part of themselves and turn it into a character.
Wait, you don't think women find you sexy?
Well, my wife does, and that's really all that matters. But I have never thought of myself as sexy, and she makes sure I know that.
I don't think he's sexy.
Well, I hope you don't.
Yeah, considering where his hand is, he's right.
You brought up ventriloquist greats. I think that's something important to you that you like to acknowledge those who've come before you. And what do you think the public perception of ventriloquism is? You got to protect it, right?
It ebbs and flows, and there are times when ventriloquism is considered valid entertainment for all ages. Edgar Bergen back in the 1930s with he had I think it was 20 or 30 years he had a radio show, and then you had other ventriloquists that came along and were more children's entertainers. And then you had Soap with Jay Johnson, who was definitely an adult entertainer. And so by the time I went on America's Got Talent, we were in one of the ebbs or the flows where everyone thought the ventriloquism was just for kids. And I wanted to be one of the ones who changed that perception. Not that my show is dirty, it's not.
Right.
But my show is written for the adult intellect. So my jokes are well thought out and are clever.
A lot of ventriloquists are corny.
Right. and Terry's not corny.
No, I'm solicited. Terry's not corny.
I like in one of your interviews, you said, the minute that there is something stupid in the room that you can agree on, comment on it.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, and that's really. But I think that's what all not ventriloquists, all comedians do.
Okay.
You know, anytime something doesn't make sense, we always try to find the humor in it, which is what makes it so difficult in a woke society, because you know, comedians, we think outside the box, and sometimes if you want to be funny, sometimes you're going to say something that might be offensive, and it really makes it difficult to be funny and being a comedian when people are so they wear their feelings outside. So
Comedy used to be off limits.
exactly, and I think it should be. I think we need to go back to comedy being off limits. And if you know,
Couple rapid fire because
Okay,
we are
I'm
running
ready.
out of time. A true Las Vegas experience is?
okay, what do you think let me see. I wrote some notes.
Where is that?
Oh, true. Okay.
Oh, no one knows. They're always too drunk to remember.
No, really? You think so? I think the true Las Vegas experience, and this is what I used to do, is breakfast at 4 a.m. after going to see a couple of shows with your friends, and you know, going out and gambling and having fun. That's the Las Vegas experience, don't you think?
And like steak and eggs for maybe $7, something
Absolutely.
good like that.
I like ham and eggs, though.
Nevada's most important asset.
That's right.
Is.
Nevada. What is Nevada's?
A turtle who can do impressions. Duh.
Oh, well,
You
duh,
think?
what was I thinking?
I would say the sense of community. We have a really great sense of community here in Vegas, don't you think?
Do you feel that?
I do.
Yeah.
I really do. You know, when we came together after the shooting in October a few years ago, and every Christmas when we have the toy drive, we have one of the best toy drives in the country. I love it.
Terry Fator, thank you so much for your time.